Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. For today's video, we are going to be covering a rumor that I thought if I just kind of like ignored it long enough, it would just kind of like poof out of existence. But it turns out it actually popped back up again, man. And that is Jerami Grant to the Boston Celtics. So usually, man, whenever I do like a Boston Celtics trade rumor video, the fan base consists of a whole bunch of mini Danny Ainges out there. And like, no matter what trade you do, you know, there will still be comments saying, well, Crispy, like, you know, we'll give you Carson Edwards, but we want 12 first-round picks back. And I'm just saying, man, that, you know, that's kind of why the Celtics, they're part of every single trade rumor and free agency rumor. But, I mean, they got Kemba Walker to show for it. So I'm just saying, man. So what I'm going to be doing is putting together a fair trade. It's going to be a fair trade that I think is going to help the Celtics win now. It's going to help them get up in the power rankings. It's going to help them get up there in the standings, make that playoff run. And, you know, the Pistons are going to get, you know, some picks back, maybe some young players back to continue the rebuild. Because, you know, from the Pistons standpoint, if you trade Jerami Grant, that means you're full on just like, okay, like we are totally, you know, fading for Kate out here, man. You know, whatever you got to do, right? So that is what we're going to be doing, man. We're going to be putting together a trade that makes sense for both sides. Now, before we get going on, if you guys don't mind dropping that, like 1,000 likes is always the goal. And of course, you know, man, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Check out my second channel, Extra Crispy, for daily NBA content and reactions over there. And my third channel, Crispy Flakes Plays, for my Detroit Pistons, my GM series. But yes, okay, so, okay, let's get going on this, man. I guess first and foremost, I do have to point out that Danny Ainge did go on the record to say that he is like desperate to get Jerami Grant on his team. Absolutely desperate. And I know people want to roast the Pistons for some of the decisions of the years past and, you know, not getting nothing back for Blake Griffin or, you know, Andre Drummond or Reggie Jackson or Bruce Brown. We got Dennis Smith for Derrick Rose. I know people want to roast the Pistons for that, but I will say, man, a lot of like what Troy Weaver's been doing has been kind of like fixing some of the mistakes of Stan Van Gundy, and a lot of his new stuff that he's been doing that we're like it was solely his choice and his decision. He's nailed a lot of it, man. Like Jerami Grant, you know, 3 years, $60 million contract. The numbers he's been putting up, man, which is 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a block per game, shooting great out there, man. Like, that's a steal of a contract. That is a steal of the contract. You know, Mason Plumlee's been pretty damn solid for the team, too, getting triple-doubles that time. You know, getting, like, what's his name, man? Where's he at? Where's Saban Lee? Saban Lee is not on here for whatever reason, man. Getting Saban Lee, you know, big-time W. So, you know, gotta give him props to that, man. So, I don't think, you know, as far as him, like, trading Jerami Grant to the Celtics, he's not just gonna give him away. That's not gonna happen, plain and simple. Like, it's gonna take something to get a 24-point-per-game score. Just gonna point that out. Now, on the Celtics side of things, I will say, if they do trade for Jerami Grant, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't think it makes like a ton of sense. Now, I will say the value of the contract obviously is nice where I think if you put Grant on this team, he's not going to be a 24-point-per-game scorer. There's just not enough shots in the in an NBA game for him to get his, while Jason, Jalen, Kemba, while those guys are getting theirs. So I do think that's something to point out. But if he can have like that Gordon Hayward every now and then goes off for 20-plus point games, that's a big-time W, man. So, you know, that's all I'm going to say about that. But, yeah, Danny Ainge really wants him. Obviously a great defender, too, so you don't really blame him. And I will say, the Celtics have some decent assets up in here. Now, when it comes down to it, though, man, you know, like I said, all other 29 teams in the NBA don't really care too much about Semi Ojeleye. So you're not going to get 20 first-round picks. You're not going to get a Semi Ojeleye and a second-round pick for Jerami Grant. That's not going to happen. Like, that's just, once again, that comes down to just, like, trade delusion, man, where it's like you kind of, you know, I mean, every fan base does it, too, like, where you put too much, you know, eggs in your own team's basket, for lack of a better term. It's literally the only term I had up on there, man. So let's go ahead and put a trade together to make this work, and I will let you guys know who exactly I would want, and you guys will get a healthy mix of veterans and stuff back, man. So here we go. Okay, obviously the main focus of the trade is going to be Jerami Grant, and I will say too, the Celtics, they do have that $20 or $30 million trade exception. I have no idea how that actually works. I've been hearing that you can attach to the contracts, you can't attach to the contracts, so I'm not really sure how the financials will work out, so we're going to assume that all finances work for this trade and not get too nitty-gritty about like the cap side or anything like that, man. But yeah, Jerami Grant, he'd be up there in the trade. Okay, so I think like the first focus point would have to be some draft picks. I've heard as much as 3 first-round picks. Now, these are not as valuable as you may think. I guess it would be every other year. They're not as valuable as you may think. Because obviously the Celtics, you know, they have a young duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They are going to be good for the next 10 years. So these are going to be like anywhere from like the 24th to 30th pick in the draft. So not like I know we see the 3 first-round picks, not that extremely valuable. They're like high second-round picks at this point, right, man? I mean, they're not bad to have, but I'm just saying, like, that's not the main focus of the trade. So player-wise, I think a player that would have to be tossed in would have to be this Aaron Nesmith guy right here, man. He was drafted, what was it? 14th in the 2020 draft. Yeah, I don't think he's played too much for the Celtics, but I'd be willing to give him a shot. You know, no big deal right there. I would definitely take on him. Unproven still. So we have that. To me, that's not enough. This is where you kind of have to like, okay, I'm going to give up something as a Pistons fan to get something back as a Celtic fan, right? I'm not taking Peyton Pritchard. That's not going to happen. We don't need him. We already have a slew of point guards with Saban Lee, Dennis Smith, and Killian Hayes. So you guys can keep Peyton. That's not a big deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to toss in Mason Plumlee. 80 overall player in NBA 2K21. I know, you know, people looking at it like, that's just Mason Plumlee. He's been really good this season, man. Like, I'm going to say it straight up. Like, that gives them some size over there on the Celtics. So I'm going to toss in Mason Plumlee. And just because I'm a nice guy, I'm going to give you guys DeLon Wright, who's about a 10.5 rebound, 5 assist guy in the NBA this season, man. He'll, you know, just be some good depth to have on the bench come playoff time. He'll be there, okay? And the Pistons have too many players at this point, so that means we need some guys back. So okay, so we got the picks, you know, 25 to 30th picks in the draft, whatever. Aaron Nesmith, unproven rookie. This is the part of the video, man, where I know the Celtics are in the comment section saying we need at least 30 first-round picks for this guy. I want Robert Williams. I think that's completely fair, man. I don't think there's anything unfair about this right here. Like I said, man, 24, 25 point per game scorer, a guy that can get you triple doubles, and a 10, 5, and 5 guy for 3, you know, lowly first round picks, an unproven rookie, and then this is the asset, a 7'9" overall young center. I think that's completely fair. Now, obviously, somebody else has to be tossing the trade right here. I'm just going to toss in Romeo Langford. I'm not saying it would be him. You know, just keep people happy. I'll go through it. No, I mean, if I toss in any one of these guys, Celtic fans are going to say we need 30 first-round picks. You know what? We'll take back Jeff Teague because you guys get DeLon Wright. We'll take on his contract. That's how I'm getting him off the team. So that seems fair, man. I think that's a completely fair trade. And honestly speaking, to give up a 26-year-old that scores 25 points on a 3-year contract in Detroit, where we don't get shit in Detroit, dare I say the Celtics are still getting the better end of this deal, man. But, you know, I'm really just tossing Mason and DeLon to really embrace the tank. Like, I don't even think those guys would even really need to be tossed in. But, you know, the 3 first-round picks, okay, that's fair. You know, and I could argue to maybe saying 2 first-round picks. I suppose that'd be fine. But I think overall this is pretty much fair across the board. Give the Celtics their guys to help them win right now. And the Pistons get rebuild assets. So that's cool, man. And you got Mason and Jerami for the next 3 years on really good contracts. DeLon Wright, I think he might be expiring. I don't know if he's expiring or not, man. But regardless, yeah, he's on a pretty solid contract himself, man. That seems pretty good. So we're going to do this trade right here, guys, and get it going. Non-Celtic fans, let me know in the comment section below what you think. I know I'm going to get the Celtic feedback. Let me know if you guys think that's a good trade or bad trade for either side. I'm very curious about that, man. So all of a sudden now, we are over here looking at the Celtics, and they have a lineup of, well, I guess, you know, we don't have to put Jerami Grant. He'd go, bro, they really trying to start Daniel Tice over him? I don't know about that one, Chief. Actually, at this point, I'll probably put Tice back at a center, and Thompson just doesn't need to play, and that'd be cool. And honestly, too, let's go with can we have Marcus Smart as a shooting guard? I guess DeLon can stay as like a point guard. I don't know how many minutes he would actually get, but yeah, man. So we're looking at a lineup of Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Jerami Grant, and Mason Plumlee. To me, that is definitely a championship team. And Plumlee actually works out really nicely in this lineup too, just because he is a fantastic passer. Does not demand the ball on offense, which is, you know, you don't want that type of center on this team where you got so many other scoring options as already. So he does a lot of good little things out there, man. He's 7-footer, you know, obviously he has good vertical too. So yeah, you got Marcus Smart, Tristan Thompson, that okay, I guess I'll toss him up there. We got DeLon Wright and Daniel Tice. Peyton Pritchard getting some minutes still, obviously, man. But yeah, overall, it's a solid team. It's a really solid team. And then, of course, you got Marcus Smart, his playmaking off the bench. Let's get Grant playing about 32 minutes a game. Mason at about 28. That looks good, man. Now, on the Pistons side of things, I'm not going to worry too much about them just because, like I said, the team's not going to make the playoffs in this video at all. But, yeah, you would – what I like about it is you got Robert Williams. He gets a chance to start. I feel like him and Isaiah Stewart, both 6'8 centers, they're both actually pretty similar to the point where, like, if we were not to get Robert Williams, it would not be that big of a deal. Because he is so similar in height and play style to Isaiah Stewart. But I thought for now, it would be nice to see which one of those guys kind of work out better. Two high-energy guys. You obviously got Sadiq Bey, Dennis Smith to get minutes out there, man. Saban Lee, who's not on this team for whatever reason. And then Aaron Smith, you think he would get some minutes out there, hopefully, speaking, 21-year-old rookie and stuff. So, yeah. Let's go ahead, though, and simulate this season and see how this Celtic team does. I will say I do think they need to make some sort of change. If I'm being 100% honest, though, man, I don't think Jerami Grant is really what this team absolutely needs. I still think, we got injuries on, man. You know what? Injuries are part of basketball. We'll keep it on for this video, man. Now, if Jerami Grant gets injured, I do apologize. But, no, I think when it comes down to it, though, like, just getting Marcus Smart back's 100% helpful. Playmaker. Like, that's what the team really needs, man. But Grant, the reason it still doesn't make sense to me is that I do think Jerami Grant is a pretty good definition of really good numbers on a really bad team and, good numbers on a good team. Much like he was on the Denver Nuggets last season. Looking up his numbers last year, man, he was at 12 points, 4 rebounds per game, and about a steal and a block. So obviously now he's shooting about 10 additional shots per game. So obviously his scoring is going to go up for that reason, man. But yeah, those shot attempts are not going to be there. So that's why, if you're a Celtic fan and you, I'm all for you guys being hesitant of even wanting Jerami Grant in the first place just for that reason. It's like, well, he might just regress back to a role player. But at the same time, a team like Detroit that rarely gets free agent signings, that rarely ever has anything good happen to them, we could not just give you guys Jerami Grant. It cannot be that, man. It's like it comes down to a point where we're better off just kind of keeping them and kind of rolling the dice with that, right? So, and I personally like Jerami Grant too. He's been a lot of fun to watch this season. I don't know if I'm as big a fan of him as everybody else is, in the Pistons nation. But just because I don't really think he's like a long-term solution to the team. I think in the moment he's kind of nice, but still it's going to come down to, losing basketball games so we can get those top draft, lottery picks out there and stuff too. But at the same time, there is something to be said that Jerami Grant wanted to be in Detroit. He wanted to play here, man. So, we don't often get guys like that either. So, I do respect that out of him, too. Which is why, for me personally, having a guy that wants to be in Detroit on a good contract, putting up all-star numbers, it won't come cheap to get him. So, we got one more game here against Chicago Bulls. Simulate through date and finish the W on the season for the Celtics. LeBron MVP. Yeah, we're probably ain't seeing no Pistons up in here. Maybe Celtics. And, yeah, okay. There we go. So, the Celtics finished third. You guys might not be, might be in the way. Third in the Eastern Conference. That's fantastic. Still got to get past, obviously, Milwaukee Bucks. Brooklyn, Philadelphia did really bad for whatever reason. Maybe injuries or something. But, yeah, player stats on the season. So, of course, Jalen is injured. Right knee tendonitis. But we got Jason Tatum at 25 points, 19 points for Jaylen Brown, 19 for Kemba Walker. And then we got Jerami Grant in this full season simulation, 17 points, 4 rebounds, and a steal and a block per game, shooting 48% field goal percentage, 35% from 3. And then Plumlee as the starting center, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block and nearly a steal. Those are really good numbers. And, of course, you got the bench unit, which obviously, too, is a big reason, even getting, DeLon Wright on this team is so big because, if Marcus Smart does go down with another injury, DeLon Wright is kind of like a poor man's Marcus Smart, where he is just like that grit and grind defensive player and stuff like that, man, that can make plays for others. But, yeah, let's see how this goes. I guess we'll look at the Pistons. Let's see how Robert Williams did. Maybe he put up some numbers. I'm going to doubt it. Oh, my God. I'm going to do the same thing twice. Okay, player stats. Here we are. Okay. So, Detroit Pistons. How my guys do over here? And we got Terrence Ross. All right. Killian Hayes, Kiltis. So, Isaiah Stewart actually played better, man. 14 points. Y'all can just keep... Man scored 7 points, 9 rebounds. He had 2 blocks. Okay, that was pretty solid. Aaron Smith got about 5 points per game. Jeff T got some minutes, which he probably would not in real life, man. But yeah, overall, whatever. It's all part of the process. Let's see how these playoffs go. First round, we got the Orlando Magic. Simulate round right here. And we got them 4 games too. All right, we moving on. Second round, we got 42 for Jason Tatum. Jerami Grant dropping 9 and 6. Would probably have games like that on this team with all these other great scorers up in here. All right, Charlotte Hornets, simulate rounds. And we got them 4-0. 37 for Kemba Walker. Jerami Grant at 15-9, 1 steal, 1 block. Very nice. Next up, we got Philadelphia, simulate round against them. And we are in the NBA Finals. So this was enough to get them to the Finals. Huge game for Delon at 15 points, 14-8 for Mason, 11-2-2 for Jerami Grant. And we got the Clippers in the Finals here, man. Simulate rounds. And there we have it, guys. This trade was enough to get them an NBA championship, which in the end of the day is what it's all about. It's about winning the championships. I understand you guys might want to keep Robert Williams, but if you can have the assets now to win a championship, what's the point of thinking in the future when you can think in the present, right, man? So hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video. Give me your thoughts about this trade in the comment section below. That's all we got. Peace out, guys.